How are we all doing, guys? Right, so for this video, again, it's another gaming memories. And today I thought I'd cover a little bit of hardware rather than, say, software. I mean, these memories are going to be all different things. So today, this one is going to be another PlayStation thing, but it is a peripheral. So a lot of you might remember this device. I do believe other companies brought it out, but the main one that people will remember it by is the Gamer movie card, which was, and I'll show you a picture just up here so you know what it looks like, which was basically a device that you put on the back of your PlayStation and you could play VCDs on your PlayStation through it. It also allowed you to play copied games without having to get your PlayStation chipped, which was a result. I was one of these that didn't want someone messing around in the insides of my PlayStation, so I never got it chipped. So this device was perfect for me. Of course, the difference with this was that what you had to do is you had to put this device on the back of your PlayStation, and you would then put a spring between the door or the flap on the top and the little like sort of button that it pushed into when you shut it, which tells it it's shut and then kicks the laser in. So what you would do is you'd put a normal disc in, and then what you would do, you'd spin up and then stop, and then you'd take that off and put either your VCD or your copied game in, and it would read it. So, because the whole time it thinks it's shut. So, and then you'd push the button on the screen to start the cards working, if you like, and it would read the film or the copied disc. Now, this device was brilliant because basically back in them days, I mean, you didn't have, I don't think you had DVD players out at the time. I'm certain you didn't. VCDs, if I remember right, were a precursor, and I'll explain all that in a minute. But at the time, if you was like me, a teenager, you know, and you only had like a VHS player in your bedroom, this was perfect because it now meant you could watch, you know, CD movies, and also you could play copied games. Now we'll concentrate on the VCD part of it for now, and then I'll get onto the copied games bit. But basically, I remember, I mean, you had to buy a lot of these VCDs from abroad. I remember buying Blade, Matrix. What else did I have? There was a few. I bought a few. All the films that were coming out at the time, sort of thing. And at the time, you know, we bought a couple of them on VHS, and it was like, oh, now I can get it on VCD and I can watch it upstairs instead of the front room. The only catch with it was that with VCD, obviously, it's video compact disc, so it means that it's on a CD. Unlike a DVD, which is like dual layered, which means that you could put the film on the one disc. With VCD, you couldn't. It was spread out over two discs, which was a bit annoying because you sometimes would get to a really action-packed part of the film, and then it would come up saying switch the disc. And it's like, really? Right in the middle of a fight scene? What's going on here? You know. So there was that. That was a little annoying, but you got past it because, you know, it's like, wow, I'm watching this on a PlayStation in my bedroom, you know, and it's not a videotape. It doesn't need rewinding. The picture's better, the sound's better. So you got past that. So it was really good in that respect. And I'd also bought like a device that you put into the memory card slot on the front, which then meant you could use a remote. So that was even better because you didn't have to have your wire. Because that's right, boys and girls, if you're watching, back then we had wires on our controllers, you know, so you didn't have to have it going trailing across your bedroom. You could just push the remote like you would on the TV and it would do it. So, and it was like a kind of like see-through little box that slotted into your memory card, and you had a little light, sort of red and green light that would light up when you used it, the remote. So it was like a kind of see-through plastic thing. So yeah, you know, you had this what seemed like great technology at the time in your bedroom. Of course, it wasn't long before the DVD players come out, and you know, and that all disappeared. So it didn't last for very long. It came out probably a bit too late. It was right at the end of VCD's lifespan, if you like. You know, DVD was coming out everywhere. So it didn't last long. But I continued to use mine because, like I said at the start, you could play copied discs on it, and that really come in handy because I got hold of, I know at least one game that was actually banned. And if you want to see gameplay of this game, head on over to UK Kraut Gaming, because he's covered it on his channel recently. And that's a game called Frill Kill. It's a fighting game that, how do I explain it? It's a little bit weird. It's for the time, it was very gory. A lot of blood, a lot of violence, a lot of weird stuff like sadomasochism and all that sort of stuff in it. And it ended up getting canned. I mean, you can download it online now, no problem. And compared to a lot of things that are out now, it's really not that bad at all. Still weird, but it's really not that bad at all. Now, the idea of it was that you could put in a multi-tap and play 4-player. So, because it is 4-player fighting. And it's sort of set in an insane asylum. So you've got one character, for example, that's in a straitjacket, so you can only use legs. I think he bites as well. You've got another character that fights with a human leg in his hands that you see him taking bites out of, and he uses the leg as a weapon. You've got a little guy on stilts in a devil costume, and he uses the stilts as weapons. And you've got different variations as well of each character. And one of the variations is kind of dressed up in a sort of S&M outfit. You've got a woman that's dressed up in sort of latex, and one of her moves is she bends the person over and then sort of pelvic thrusts them across the arena. You know, it's all very weird. And then you've got another guy that kind of looks a bit like he looks a bit like sort of Pinhead, if you like, but he's got all like sort of black latex on, which is very odd looking. And then you've got Mammoth, which basically looks like a gorilla hybrid human. So it's all very weird game. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the game. We are here to talk about the device. And yeah, it allowed me to play these games because, you know, they were banned. And the only way you could get them was on a copy. I mean, I did have others as well. I remember I got Dino Crisis early. That I got that before it came out. I don't know if that was a good thing or not, really, because it was really just Resident Evil with dinosaurs, wasn't it? And I'll be honest, I'm not a massive Resident Evil fan anyway. People are like, "What did you say? How dare you say that?" I'm just being honest. I'm not a massive Resident Evil fan. I never have been. So yeah, you know, it allowed me to get access to games early and also get older copies of games that were banned. So it was good. And like I say, at the time, it was a great device. It wasn't cheap. I forget how much, but I know it wasn't cheap. Um, and you was really in trouble if you lost the spring bit that held the flap open. I remember at one point I misplaced it and luckily found it again. So yeah, it was a good idea for the time, and nothing like that was around at the time, so it was new. Of course, like I say, DVD quickly started taking over, and that device kind of ended up a bit like inferior, but like I say, you could still use it to play your copies, so it came in handy for that. So yeah, just thought I'd share that with you guys because I imagine most people in the community are aware of this, but there might be some youngsters watching that have never heard of this and probably didn't realise that we had to jump through these sort of hoops to do this, because of course the new consoles you can watch DVDs and Blu-rays and things like that, so they wouldn't have that issue and probably never realised it was an issue. So yeah, that's my gaming memory for this episode. Let me know if you ever had one, or even if you didn't, if you heard of it, in the comments below. And until next time, take care, stay safe. Nerdy Geezer out.